Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner. Well, we've had a lot of deer registered in the Q1 Buck Poll. You can see them online at q1buckpoll.com. And you know, Mike, there's a lot of hunters out there that are finding dead deer because of EHD, but they're starting to see them right now.
And they're finding them now because they're out in the woods. But I'll tell you what, thank God for the heavy frost we've had, taking care of the midge fly, and hopefully it'll be a much safer hunting season for us.
Well, and more deer are getting registered, so obviously the deer are on the move. This week we've got the DNR on with us, Sportsmen Against Hunger. Ray Rustom is going to talk about that. And you know, Mike, a lot of people are taking the deer and then they're taking it to a processor who will then donate it to the food pantries.
You know, and I can't think of a nicer thing and a better thing to do to help out those friends and neighbors in their time of need. Also
on the show this week, we've got Steve Francis and his chef, Ryan Renovich, from the Country Smokehouse up in Imlay City. Autumn apple venison saute. How delicious does that sound?
Oh, it sounds great. Like I said, get online. Last year's shows, this year's show. You can have a favorite recipe every week throughout the season. There's some awesome recipes out there.
We also are going to talk to DNR Sports Center Randy Van Dam. He's going to talk about the conditions over in the Kalamazoo area. May even talk a little bit about some guns and that sort of thing here with us. All that and more. Plus, we've got a lot of bucks to feature on this week's show. So stay with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. The Q1 Buck Poll is sponsored by these participating businesses who support the great outdoors in Michigan. Well, as I talked about earlier, the bucks are being registered all throughout the state. We've got some big bucks, and Mike Big Buck Hoffner, of course, is going to handle that. But the other interview we're going to talk about today is Ray Rustom, Sportsmen Against Hunger, and he's going to talk about how it gets paid for and what you can do to donate your venison to a local food pantry. And Big Buck, before that, though, let's see some of the big bucks.
Now, we got some nice ones, Tim. Let's start out with John Keys from Chesaning, Michigan with an 11-pointer. His score was 45. Donald Hines from Kalamazoo with an 8-pointer. The score, 46 1/4. Tanner Hill from Homer, Michigan, bringing in an 11-pointer. The score was 47.88. And finally, Jason Kidd, not the Jason Kidd, the basketball player, but Jason Kidd from Kalamazoo with a 9-pointer. His score was 48 1/4.
All right, now let's talk to Ray Rustom from the DNR about Sportsmen Against Hunger. We're now going to talk about Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger. I've got Ray Rustom with us. He's the assistant to the chief. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the program and how it works. Explain Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger.
Well, this is a real simple program where we try to get hunters to donate venison that then gets processed at local processors and then goes out to food pantries, homeless shelters that they can utilize that venison in their programs.
Now, do I have to sign up for this program ahead of time?
As a hunter, no, you don't have to. All you need to do is to find out which processor in your area that's participating with Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger, and then take your venison or take your unprocessed deer to that person and turn it over.
So I still pay for the license, but then I'm able to donate the venison to those less fortunate, and that's where Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger will help pay for that processing.
Exactly. They take in the deer, the processor does that, and then working through Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger, they get reimbursed for processing the venison.
About how much poundage was brought in last year?
Last year we brought in over 23,000 pounds. And when you figure that out to meals, because it's all done in ground venison and then turned over to pantries, and usually they figure a little less than a pound per meal per person. We probably served over 100,000 meals with that donated venison.
Well, one of the things I like about it is, you know, I'm affiliated with the Branch Area Food Pantry down in the Coldwater area, and it seemed like venison donations were up last year, and hopefully that's a good sign for the economy and also more hunters getting out in the woods.
Right, that's exactly what we want to do. The neat thing about this too is if you're like me or you probably have a couple of licenses on you, probably maybe 1 or 2 doe permits, and you get your venison venison, and a lot of times guys, most hunters will stop after they get that one deer. They don't know what they're going to do with another deer for their freezer. Here's an opportunity they can go out and do something good for their community.
Now, can a program like this keep growing, or does it ever come to a height that it's not going to top that?
Well, actually, what we're running into right now is we're getting up there where we're processing enough venison because the way this is funded is by hunters donating when they buy a license or other donations. We're running into the point now where we're maxing out on the amount of venison that we can process with the money that we have coming in. And so we need to start getting more donations, more people to donate to Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger so we can continue and increase processing.
So that is something that I would give money to that particular program, and then that money is used to help with the processing. Is that how it's working?
Yeah, you can do it a couple different ways. First is when you buy a license, you tell the licensed vendor, you say, I want to make a donation to Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger, and you can make your donation there. If for some reason you forget that, or if you already bought your licenses, you can go on to the Michigan e-store and make a donation through that process. There's a thing called Feeding the Hungry. Make a donation to that. That goes to Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger. Or you can make a donation directly to Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger.
You know, it's just a great program. Again, I talk about our area because I'm very familiar. We had a number of people that, you can get, a turkey at Thanksgiving, or you can get a ham or something like that through the food pantry as part of our big holiday gift baskets. But we had a lot of people say, no, I'll take the venison.
Yeah.
So it is something that people desire. Anything else about the program or what people can do right now?
Well, I think that's one of just the key things, and one of the things I like to remember on this is that this kind of takes us back to a time when the hunter was the person who fed the community, and we kind of got away from that. Here's a way to get back to that, and we can once again help feed our community.
Ray, great program. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Ray Reston, he's the assistant to the chief here with the DNR, and we've been talking about the Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger program. There are a number of food pantries around the state of Michigan that accept venison, and then they give it out to those less fortunate. And Mike, I think with Sportsmen Against Hunger, there's local Rotary clubs like in the Coldwater area that are donating money for this, and it's just a great cause.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that love to hunt, don't necessarily like the venison, and it's a great way to help those in their time of need. And I'll tell you what, I've heard from Ann Lown. She's our local food pantry director, and she does a phenomenal job, going out there and talking to people to donate their deer. As a matter of fact, she picked up some hunting property for you and I to hunt on just so we would do that.
That is awesome. I can't wait. And we'll show you that right here on the Q1 Buck Poll. When we come back, we're going to be cooking up something delicious. So stay with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Fortunate to live in the great state of Michigan with millions of acres of recreational land, 11,000 inland lakes, and for a lot of people, it's a dream come true to own their own piece of property. Today I've got Randy Steck with us. He's a Senior Vice President of Sales and Customer Relations at Greenstone Farm Credit Services. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tim.
Now, Greenstone has been a proud sponsor of the Q1 Buck Poll for a number of years, and you've really helped thousands of Michigan residents own a piece of recreational land.
Yes, we have provided financing for thousands of folks across the state, and we're very happy to be part of that dream building process.
And Greenstone has a number of outdoor enthusiasts on staff, but you also have locations all over the state too.
Yes, our 31 offices are conveniently located to the bulk of the customers that we do business with, and we encourage those folks to stop in and talk to us. We share a lot of the same values and beliefs that the outdoors community has, and many of our staff actually enjoy the same activities.
Randy, there's a lot of different programs too, aren't there?
Yes, we can provide financing for up to 30 years and a fixed rate of interest for as little as 20% down.
Well, Randy, when we were talking outside, you talked about loans as long as 30 years, as little as 20% down. You've got all different types of programs, but what sets Greenstone apart? Really,
it's the people that work here at Greenstone and the solutions that we can provide to folks and helping them with their dream purchase. And whether it's, a lot of these customers have not had a lot of experience in purchasing real estate or dealing with a lender, so we can walk them through that process and really provide a lot of value, expertise and advice to help folks through that process.
And if I want to learn more and get more information?
You can check us out on the web, give us a call, or stop by any one of our 31 offices throughout the state of Michigan.
And he talks about the 31 offices. That's 31 locations where you can register your buck or doe in the Q1 Buck Poll. They can take care of you. Randy, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
All right, Randy Steck's been with us from Greenstone Farm Credit Services. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, before we cook up some delicious venison, autumn apple venison saute, let's take a look at some bucks here on the Q1 Buck Poll.
Let's start out with Nathan Kroparsuski, bringing in a 10-pointer from Hillsdale, Michigan, with a score of 50 3/4. Mark Hills from Bangor with a 10-pointer. The score, 51.13. And Gavin Kolb from Montgomery with an 11-pointer, and his score, 52.
Well, with all the deer that have died from EHD, I will tell you this, here on the Q1 Buck Poll, our numbers are up at this part of the season. And now it's time to head off to the Thumb area, Country Smokehouse, with Steve Francis and his chef, Ryan Runovich. Let's cook up some autumn apple venison saute. Time to do a little cooking here on the Q1 Buck Poll. We're at the Country Smokehouse in Almont. Steve Francis is with us. And Ryan Runovich. How are you doing, Ryan?
Good, how are you?
Now, Steve, we're going to do some cooking, and we've got some delicious venison sitting on the table. What are we going to do today?
Ryan's going to do a venison tenderloin here with a little butter and schnapps, and something you could do very easily at home. Ryan does this quite often, a lot of cooking shows for us. Does an awesome job with it.
All right, Ryan, where are we going to start at?
We're going to start here with this venison tenderloin. We're going to cut some nice medallions, about 1 inch thick. Flatten them out.
And Ryan, why are you flattening them out?
We want to get even cooking on them when we sear them in the pan. Add some oil to the saute pan. Nice medium-high heat. We want to get a good sear on it. We're going to season liberally, salt and pepper. Both sides. Add our onions. Get a nice caramelization on those onions.
Now, are you putting any other sauce in there right now, or just throwing them in the pan?
We're going to make the sauce with the apple schnapps and the Granny Smith apple. While that's caramelizing, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my Granny Smith.
Granny Smith, just your choice?
It is. It'll hold up better in the heat and the sauteing. I recommend it for baking also.
It's a little bit of a harder apple, isn't it?
Harder apple, yeah. It's going to give off a little bit of a tartness in the sauce.
All right, so you're going to cook down the schnapps by about 50%, you said?
Correct, yep. Once that's reduced, go ahead and add some apple juice. Let that heat back up. I would go ahead and add your tenderloins, or you could use back straps. Back in. Granny Smith apples.
So it's all just kind of soaking up the sauce there a little bit. And
letting all the flavors marry together, getting the apples to break down. The onions are marrying their flavors with everything else.
Oh, and then everybody's favorite.
Finish with some whole butter.
We didn't say we were making healthy food here.
No,
we're making delicious food.
That's right. Melt that butter down all the way. Once that butter is fully melted and everything's married together, looks good, apples are still tender, we're going to go ahead and plate up some rice. This is just white rice with some nice fall vegetables in there. With both seasoned in air, a perfect dish.
What do you think?
That is delicious. You know, it's very tender. You can taste the apples. It's just got kind of a sweeter sauce to it. It is delicious.
Very good.
And again, this is something, as you said, Steve, it's faster than a TV dinner and more delicious.
Correct. Better for you.
All right. At the Country Smokehouse, doing a little cooking. You can catch all the recipes online. Ryan Runovich has been our chef today. And, of course, Steve Francis, thanks for being with us. Ryan?
Thank you.
Delicious. All right. We got more coming up. Stay with us. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, as I said, that was delicious. I'm not a big eater of a variety of food, but the way they're cooking the venison nowadays and the way that people are adding ingredients instead of just, all right, I'm just going to slap it on the grill, I'm going to make it until it's dried out, and then we're going to eat it.
I'll tell you what the difference is. they've got a chef to do it.
Of course.
We just do it the old-fashioned way. And I'll tell you what, the chefs that we've had on the show have cooked up some fantastic recipes.
And you can find all of the recipes online at q1buckpole.com. Plus, you can see the deer that have registered. You can post some blogs. If you've got questions, you can ask us questions in there. And we'll try to keep you up to date with news and events of what's happening with not just prizes, but events and locations. And I'm going to be going on location to a number of places coming up where I'll have the camera. And so when you get your deer, you can bring it to like Richardson's Meat Processors in Linden. I'll have that date coming up. I'm going to go up to the Country Smokehouse. I'm going to be at Ray C's Extreme up in Lapeer. So I'm going to be all over the state coming up.
You're here, there, you're everywhere.
I don't even know where I'm going, but I will be there, and I'll have the camera, and I'll let you know where, and you can check online of where I'm going to be so that you can bring your buck and we can talk a little deer hunting. Stay with us. When we come back, we've got Randy Van Dam from DNR Sports Center. He's going to talk about hunting in the lower part of Michigan, especially over in the Kalamazoo area. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, it's time to take a look at some more bucks here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Remember, you could register a buck or a doe, and you still have the same chance to win crossbows from Dart and Archery. The final prize, a Yamaha Grizzly 350 ATV from Custom Connection Motorsports. So great prizes, and you just got to get in the contest.
Well, to get in the contest, you got to have deer. And speaking of deer, got some dandies in this segment. Let's start out with Zachary Kittle from Hanover, bringing a 12-pointer with a score of 54 3/4. Stephen Morris from Fulton with a 13-pointer, his score 54.88. And finally, Reggie Kelly from Allegan, bringing an 11-pointer. Listen to this score, Tim, 56.88.
So we've got some big deer out there, and you just need to be out in the woods. Again, I remind you that whenever you're out in the woods and you do find some deer that have died from EHD, make sure you give your local conservation officer a call from the DNR so that they can record that and then do some testing and things like that. Now let's talk to Randy Van Dam from DNR Sports Center. We're now at DNR Sports Center in Kalamazoo. Randy Van Dam is with us. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim.
Let's talk a little bit about the hunting season. You know, we've been talking on the phone. You've got people out there finding deer with the EHD.
Right.
What's the overall feel up at the Kalamazoo market?
Well, people are concerned. You know, the guys, everybody wants to get a deer, you know, type thing. They want, and the trend is toward larger deer. You know, we got a lot more guys letting smaller bucks go and stuff, and they're interested in trophies. They're also interested in deer management. You know, which part of the thing is they want to shoot a doe, you know, to help manage the things. Or
get the buck to doe ratio.
Yeah, get that doe ratio thing. And they want to eat deer still. We all love to eat deer,
yes.
but they're selecting the does to do that with. You know, and then they're giving themselves a chance for that trophy. So when you have a disease that come in that affects their trophies, you know, they're widely concerned. You know?
Are you still seeing people coming in saying, hey, we've got a lot of deer out there? I know we just had some frosts, and in our area, it seems like we're starting to see deer in the lower part of Michigan.
Yeah, there is, and there's a lot of things that, you know, people are, there's a lot of unknowns here. They don't know what they've lost, first of all, and it's in pockets. It's not everywhere. I mean, some of the pockets there's some areas that are, it's pretty bad. It's pretty widespread. But then there's, you know, areas where there's a lot of deer. And I think it's Mother Nature's way of taking care of business. You know, it's not the first time it's been around. It's been around a lot of states and a lot of things, and everything's rebounds from it, you know, type things. It takes a little longer in some areas when you've had, you know, wide devastation of a little pocket of deer. Yeah, but you know, deer are resilient. They move in. Look what look what's happened in the last 10, 15 years. Just look what has happened to our herd. It's been growing. It's been great. We'll rebound back from this. Okay.
Well, I think you're exactly right. And you know, hunters, one of the things that we want to let you know is that they really should, if you find deer, give a DNR conservation office a call, and so that they can at least document it and kind of get a feel for what's going on.
It'll help them manage going forward. It'll, you know, the areas of the thing, and I'm sure next year we'll have some tighter restrictions in some areas type thing, but you know, we're not going to lose our deer hunting. It's something we've, you know, grown up with, and it's a heritage thing for us, and they're not going to take it away from us. They're going to manage it so we can have it.
Right. So, well, I talked to Russ Mason with the DNR Wildlife Division. He's the chief. I talked to Keith Cray, the new director of the DNR, and they said, you know what, we're going to go through this season, and then we're going to kind of see what the reports are, what the deer check stations are doing, and then we'll figure out how we're going to set the management plan for next year.
Exactly.
Randy, thanks for being with us,
All right,
man.
thanks, Tim.
All right, Randy Van Dam talking about the deer season here at DNR Sports Center. Well, it's always fun to visit a lot of our sponsors throughout the state, and again, I'll be on the road here coming up late October and all the way through the end of November, and I'm going to be at different locations with the camera. And one of the things I do want to remind people out there too, if you got a camera and you're out in the woods and you're shooting footage of your hunt, we would like to feature you right here on the Q1 Buck Pull.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. You don't have, I mean, technology has made this so much easier. So grab your camera. Some of them you can put right on your bow, and if not, grab a friend, take a buddy with you, take them out hunting. It's an exciting thing to do.
So lots happening here on the Q1 Buck Pull. We'll keep you apprised of what's going on our news and events. Also, we're going to be talking again each and every week with Mike Avery Outdoors, his radio program. He does a fabulous job out there. You can go online and listen to him with a podcast, or you can just check him out on your local radio station.
Yeah, and that, even at the local level, I've had kids at the school, we've got our FFA chapter, they want to get involved with the big buck pull. Met with them last week, and they want to do their own little mini buck pull series this year, and we've already had kids bringing in deer, registering them at the Branch Area Career Center, so we're rocking and rolling as well.
And if you have a buck pull in your area that you would like to feature here on the Q1 Buck Pull, and you'd like to work with us and have the deer registered so they have a chance to win great prizes like this, all you have to do is give us a call. You can email me at timbahart@gmail.com, or you can email us through the website q1buckpull.com. Well, that's going to do it, Big Buck. You ready to roll? You ready to hit the woods?
I'm ready to hit the woods. It's getting better every day.
All right, for Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Whenever you're out in the woods, make sure you stay safe. Quite honestly, because well, the English was not correct. I like to be an English major. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Not really?
His English was not correct. What English were you using? Latin? I what?
I was using English. You ever heard of English?
I don't know what English is. I knew hog English from Bessemer, Michigan.
Yeah. I'm not even going to go
he
there.
Spoke pig Latin.
I'm not even going to go there, Bessemer, Michigan. Holy cow. If people don't know that by now, they'll, Bessemer, Michigan. Where are you from? Bessemer, Michigan. UP. Right. I'm from Bessemer. I know everybody up there. Nathan, first of all.
Yeah. Let's start out with Nathan. That's a big name. Crow Parzewski. Okay, that's right.
Parzewski. That's why he spelled it out.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's start out with Nathan Crow Parzewski, bringing in a 10-pointer. That's a big word.
It's a big word, and he's only from Bessemer, Michigan. How's he supposed to get that?
Crow Parzewski.
How do you get that then?
I don't know. That's my English. You for English.
Come on now, Rick.